If we don't like it, we can try another one. All right. Ooh, we are live.
Ooh,
we are
3
officially
seconds.
live for 3 seconds. Should we take it? I feel like a ghost is gonna walk past the door. You know, just like.
But there's no way this place is haunted.
No, there's no way. It was just built in 1920. So.
I mean, I don't think it's built on an ancient Indian burial ground.
I don't think so either. Oh, look, it says we have somebody there. What is this?
Ooh,
Somebody's watching.
The dog just listening.
Maybe the dog's watching.
I mean,
He's definitely licking my legs. This is disgusting. All right, so first things first, let's get the other live going before we even start the show.
All right. Let's get the Instas going.
You got Insta going yet?
Well, I will in a moment.
Is it? Wait, you're gonna let me do Insta. You do Face. Are you on BBRs?
Yeah.
No, let's do Facebook on that one.
Okay.
Just because I think Insta might have the most.
Questions.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go to the other one.
All right.
And I'll change the orientation of my camera.
Listen, you got it, man. All you got to do is turn it just
Sideways.
Yeah, but you don't have to do anything other than lay the thing down. Lay me down. Aww. Oh, no. What's the difference between you and me? Ice cream. All right. How do we do this? Let's go live. Live it up. Look at that. Look at that. I feel alive. Look at that. Oh. What do you think? JD's busy over there.
Yep.
Let's do
One thing
it.
at a time.
Checking the connection. Let's get a little action here. Oh, add a guest by being here live. Look at that. We're live. We are officially live. I like that. Let me try to do this. Woo! 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 It sounds like there's an echo, man. Woo! 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 Welcome to the live behind the scenes of us putting together our first podcast for I don't make this stuff up. It's all about business and being successful in entertainment, but you can utilize the information for other career choices. JD is at this moment. Look at him. He's just setting up that.
Hi, guys.
I'm waiting for a ghost to walk past that door while we're recording. I've seen too many YouTube videos with that where it's just somebody like, hey, look at this thing I could do. I could move this. And then like a ghost jumps out and you're like, oh my God, a ghost, which is crazy. All right. So I got this. We got Facebook Live going.
Oh, no.
We got YouTube Live going. We got this Instagram Live going. We're going to get excited with this. We're going to be doing a nice podcast today. I don't make this stuff up. However, I feel I should, but I don't. And the good part about it is I got my good buddy JD right here. Look at him. Oh, he's so cute.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
You ready?
You know, if he was a girl and if I was a girl and he was a lesbian, I would totally date him.
That's so sweet of you.
I would totally date him. Look at that.
Ooh.
Look, we're on.
All right, I'm going to hit record on this. You ready?
Wait, let me hit record on the videos. 1 second.
Yeah.
Also, there's like a thing.
There's a thing?
There's like the sound, the something with the sound.
Yeah, there's...
Definitely something with the sound. If you could try to adjust that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh. I think there might be a weird latency because we're right next to each other.
No, that's not it. Trust in Tom.
I trust in Tom. How about this? Is that
I
better?
would never lie to you.
How about that? How about that? Hello, everybody. Ooh, we got Brian Radke hanging out on Facebook.
I love Brian Radke.
Hi, Brian Radke.
All right. So we're pretty much going to ignore most of the live stuff, but if you have questions, ask the questions. We'll answer the questions. But mostly we're going to be talking about a couple subject matters, which I'll bring up. Do we have that on here, by the way? On our Gmail?
Jamal.
Do we have the Gmail up?
Jamal.
You know, we're both from Long Island. It's,
Long Island.
no, Island.
Island.
What is it? Island. What do you? This is my land.
Whatever. This bagel's there. I don't care.
Bagels.
Bagels and
I
pizza.
miss bagels.
And conditions.
And pizza. Yeah, pizza knishes. How about pizza knishes?
I was just thinking that we need pizza knishes.
You look like you could enjoy a whole gallon of pizza knishes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So many carbs, I might explode.
How many guys?
Like at least 3.
Did we say we were going to do the shirtless? I forget. I know you've been working out, but I ate too many donuts this week.
What the hell is it doing?
They're life's peace.
I mean, that makes sense.
All right. By the way, we're also on Twitch now. We're officially on Twitch. Everything is BBR Productions, but Twitch. All right, where is it? Is it under the YouTube
Are
channel?
those filming?
Everything is filming.
All right, so let's
We're on. Get it on.
activating
Activating.
and doing the sound thing.
Sound. What the hell? You okay, buddy?
Yeah, making sure I get the sound.
Jesus. Oh, we got the sound right. Giving me a headache with this clap. All right, what is this? Whoa. What's going on? Are we supposed to brainstorm? Where's this thing? Oh, here we go. Oh, all right.
Here we go.
All right. We obviously don't have an intro yet, so we're just going to start talking. So, JD.
Welcome to the podcast.
JD?
Jid.
Jid. Let's just do the shortest version of our names, just so we can talk, Just
Jid.
yeah. Jid. Should we shut the AC off so we don't have that raring sound in the mic?
Probably.
All right, let's do that. I'll keep the audience entertained.
I'll do all the work.
By the way, thanks for hand making slippers out of human skin for me the other day. I noticed you had that foot problem, and then you had time to actually glue it all together over the course of a month.
You're welcome. You use dog semen to, glue it all together.
Well, that's gross. This is terrible. What are you talking? All right, no one's on it. Okay, so anyway, so this is JD McGibney, and I'm Thomas J of the Bellezza, the House of Bellezza.
Hello.
And you're right. If you want.
There's like 50 cameers. That was a way
To us, there's only us. Let's just love on each other.
Okay.
I just want to have a conversation with you. So the big question is, maybe we could do one of those so we can kind of
put it over there.
I don't want to block the other camera, but there we go.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. So listen. The good news is, anyway. So JD McGibney, Thomas J. Bellezza, and we're doing a show called
I don't make this stuff up.
Yeah, I don't make this stuff up. And basically, it's just something I always say because I tell people how to be successful. They look at me like I'm crazy, and then they either do it and they're successful, or they notice that other people are doing it and they're successful. And then my response to them is, I don't make this stuff up. So the show is called I Don't Make This Stuff Up. And we're going to basically be talking about how to be successful in entertainment, though you could utilize
and in life.
Yeah, in life in general. Especially since there's a lot of OnlyFans accounts being made during the quarantine.
A lot.
I mean, YouTube channels. Obviously you could utilize this to. I would recommend hiding your face if you're going to do Pornhub, but they still pay $10,000. All right,
per video.
Per video, which is crazy that we made so many videos in such a short time for Pornhub. Yeah. Jesus, we have a nice car now though. But anyway, so today we're gonna I wanted to discuss with JD because JD and I have both been in the music industry at one time or another, and but he's probably closer to the way I used to be than I am now, but he's learning to not be that way. And what I'm talking about is artist brain
versus business brain.
Versus the business brain.
To be fair, you've been implementing all of your teachings, and living those lessons, and I'm still kind of in the Padawan stage. I'm the Anakin to your Obi-Wan.
Oh,
only less angry.
I would say you're more like the Obi-Wan, and I'm like Qui-Jin.
You mean Qui-Gon?
Who?
That makes more
Don't just make up names. We're gonna lose trust with these people. All right. Anyway, yeah. So Qui-Jin.
Cum laude.
I don't have a lot of money, but I do have a lot of skills. Anyway, so over time you've listened to me teach my dog, and by just mere foot distance,
and then cheating off of the dog's test.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's stupid. Why would I do that? And then you try it as a joke to prove me wrong, and then you're like, this is genius.
And that's how I haven't had a day job in like 6 years.
Yeah, and then I say to you, I don't make this stuff up. And then you go, well, you taught it to me. I go, no, I just regurgitated what I have learned from the greats, like Adam Sandler. So,
and literally every other entertainer who is successful in entertainment.
Yeah, Adam Sandler sounds like it was a joke, but it's actually he's one of the most successful examples of the technique. And the reason he's successful is because he believes in network market practice. He manages his time, money, and people. He's developed wealth, power, and opportunity for people. But anyway, so today, one of the things we wanted to talk about is just separating the artist from the business. And, JD, growing up, how did you understand the business worked in your mind? And obviously, I would like you to just literally negate anything I've ever taught you. And just tell me.
And go back to what I originally thought before meeting you.
Yeah, like what was your brain like when you were like you obviously you War Pigs? I mean, Children of Grey was your first song, right? What was your first song that made you? I need to pick up guitar.
Oh no, Nativity in Black.
Nativity in Black. Also, that's not the name of the song. It's Nib.
It's the end.
Yeah. But Nib actually didn't stand for anything other than Bill Ward's beard, and then later on they turned it to Nativity in Black. But part of the joke was that they were like, "Oh, we can't tell you it. It's a secret. It's a secret." But anyway, so you picked up your guitar and you were like, "Hey, I want to be in a band." What happened? How did your mind think? Where were you?
Well, first
wrong.
No. Oh my god. We have to get you a buzzer. No.
People are talking to us.
Oh.
So carry on with your story.
They're watching.
Hello.
Hi, Nigel.
Hey. Hola. ¿Cómo está? That's French.
It is. So basically, I picked up
guitar
when I was in like junior, when I was in high school. So I was like 14.
But how
I
old
was
were
still
you?
a kid, and I just picked it up because I was like, oh, I really like guitar. But by the time I started, by the time I graduated, by the time it was time to basically go to college, started figuring out what the hell I wanted to do with myself.
Now, why did you choose college, even though at some point or another you decided that you wanted to be a musician?
I ended up going to college because it was just something that was told to me that I had to do by family, by people in school, by older people who were just like, oh, this is how you go about becoming successful. You have to go to school, you have to go to college, have to get a degree, and then things happen.
How did that work out for you?
I ended up going to college for 8 years to get a 4-year degry because I kept changing my major because I'm like, oh, this stuff is stupid. I just want to do music. So by the time I figured out that, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go do music.
Have you used your degree?
Never, not once.
Before we continue the story, I'd like to point out, because I'm proud of it, he paid off his college with music.
I did.
So, but carry on. So you're in college for 8 years for a 4-year degree.
And I learned in college that I didn't need to go to college.
You learned it?
I learned it.
Okay.
But
I have a question.
To answer your initial question,
what was it again? No.
I was always told that music was it would be nice if it happened. You had to be lucky in order for it to be successful. It was just like luck of the draw. It's like you just have to be really good at your instrument. You have to be really good at writing music. You have to be in the right place, right time.
Yeah.
And that always frustrated me because it just seems like if you think that way, you're saying that some people are better than others. You're saying some people are destined to have this. And why is it that nobody, not everybody has the same, chance? And like that really just bothered me. So when I met you and you started telling me like, oh, it's just like every other industry. It's like every other business. It's like, oh, it comes down to if I'm actually able to think like a business, if I'm actually able to interact with people and build my relationships. And it has nothing to do with the art. It made me, at first it was heartbreaking knowing that what I was putting so much time and effort and heart into with my music wasn't going to be what actually made my success. It also gave me the same freedom to literally do whatever I wanted. And if anybody said, oh, you should do this, I'm like, oh, thank you. And I'll just continue doing whatever I want because it was not related to me actually finding success.
Well, yeah, I mean, you eventually understood the process, but what I'm saying is like for the audience more or less is like, what was your game plan before you met me? And I know you're saying you have to be in the right place. And also I'm sure you've heard the term as people got older, they said, well, if it happens, it happens, but I just love playing music.
Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, you heard like, well, it's all about who you know. But meanwhile, the only people they know are the people in the band or, the bands that they're playing local shows with.
Yeah.
But with that said, though, what was your game plan before you had met me or even started working with actual successful musicians that, clarified the reality?
When I was in bands, doing the local circuit when I was still in, my 8 years of 4-year college. How
long were you in college for?
8 years.
32 years? Really? Yeah, I got my 2-year degree.
That's so funny. No, my game plan was literally just to play shows all over the place and just play as many as possible and just be like, I'll just build fans that way, and eventually it'll snowball and somebody will hear about us and be like, oh, yay.
Now, how did you think playing shows would build the fans? Like, what was because I already know the answer to this, just having been in your shoes, but also dealing, like you've seen me literally talk to people and they said exactly what I said they're going to say.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know, you don't know. But the only thing you know is what you know. And it's always the same for somebody because they're talking in this reverse mentality where they're looking at the success of, say, Metallica or Brad Pitt
or Black Sabbath
or any successful entrepreneur or entertainer, and they think, I just need to do that and I'll be successful.
And they don't realize that there's like 5 to 10 years of work that goes behind the scenes that you don't know about.
Yeah, the process.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they base their goals on the results and not necessarily the process. But anyway, so what was the mentality of, if I do shows, I'll bring in fans? Like how could you bring in fans doing shows?
Well, the mentality for me and like the bands that I was in was that if we played shows, we'll get fans that are at the shows. People will like us, they'll see us, and then they'll share us. They'll share our music, specifically our music, and not our brand. They would share our music with other people, and it would snowball that way. So they'd be like, "Oh, you guys like this," and then those people would come from there, just because it would be more of like a spreading of word of mouth.
Yeah, because you're like, I made this music. It's awesome, amazing, and unique.
But the thing that they never really clicked with us because we were choosing to ignore it because we're like, we're also having fun.
Yeah.
Was the fact that most of the shows that we played were just our friends and family, and then maybe the friends and family of the other bands, but everyone was always there just for the bands that were there. Yeah. Maybe there's like, I could probably count on like one hand the amount of times we made a fan from somebody else who was like, oh my God, you guys are amazing. Because I remember those people.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow, you stood out because no one ever did.
Oh, like when a band's girlfriend starts liking you and then like they get mad because you went out on a date with them. It's like they're a fan.
Exactly.
I got to feed them. Jesus.
Listen, you're just being polite.
Yeah, that's what just because I stole several girlfriends. No, I never did that. They didn't know that. So, but you're right, and that's part of the problem. The other thing is like bands will literally spend a ridiculous amount of money on an album because they think in their head, if I have an album, I'll literally be able to sell this. But the thing is, you don't have
the fan base.
The fan
base.
No
one knows you exist.
Yeah, supply and demand is the reason why companies make stuff. So in development stages, especially for medicine or even just electronics technology, they'll invent the prototype and then they basically see if it's something people need. And if people need it, that determines the cost of it, because basically supply and demand. And then they
how much time went into actually making it.
How much time, and they divide that by, also they have to figure out how much money they need to make to supply it.
Or if you're Ferrari, they just make up numbers that are always millions for no reason.
We're the band, so we need this much money. Or actors, they'll be like, if I perform this much, I'll make this much money. And it's like, you can't base it on performing. In fact, even in music, you can't base it on, if I make this album, I'm going to sell 1,000 copies. Because in reality, to be successful in any field, especially entertainment, your job really is to create a wealth. And the wealth gives you wealth of time and wealth of money. So freedom, you have this ability to make choices. So if I want to record an album and I have wealth, I can just record an album. It doesn't matter. That's the artist in me. I just get to enjoy that. But if I'm looking to make money off of the item, now I have the stress of not really putting my true self into it. And then I have the stress of I need to sell this. But if you're creating a foundation of wealth, and you're organizing your money into security, growth, and dreams so you can protect yourself, invest in yourself, and eventually reward yourself, you're now creating these open opportunities that allow you the freedom to do what it is you love. Like, there's no way Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise is out there just going, I got to do this movie. I mean, I feel like that was the case with The Mummy, but
I think that was more of just like, you know what, let's make The Mummy, but also Mission Impossible.
Well, honestly, his production company really put a hands on to that, and they wanted to make it what it wasn't supposed to be, which is what you're saying.
Mummy Impossible.
Yeah, Mummy. Let's let it Mummy Impossible with you. But Tom Cruise can do that. He can take those risks, and it doesn't affect his life because he has generated wealth. And his wealth isn't because he made enough money where he just kept saving the money. He obviously invested and made into assets. But that's not what this conversation really is about. It's the starting point of any entertainer, and even actors. Like when I retired from the music industry and was like, well, I want to do something else. I had the freedom to go do whatever I want. So I did comedy. I started writing more, and then I started acting. And my first audition, I got booked, and that led me for 1 year of work. And the way I got that work was, it turns out the director, the owner of the company, who's been doing theater at the time for 65 years with his company.
That's a long time.
It turns out his son and I were friends in the music industry, but he never met me because his son is like a much more popular musician, and it's not like they were doing local shows, but I was friends with him. So when he found that out, literally as I ended the first show, he goes, do you want to do another show? And I said, sure. And he goes, all right, great. And then he'd be like, I have another show next month, the next month. And I literally had a year of paid acting work. Now, while I was there, I dealt with a lot of the artist brain with other actors. They were like, oh, somebody's going to, actually, here's a great example of artist brain versus business brain.
Ooh, I love examples.
All right, I'm doing this show with this guy, and by the way, he's like a method actor. His character's supposed to be drunk, so he'd always come to, he would perform the show drunk and come to rehearsal drunk. Anyway, that's besides the point. Very professional. It's called acting.
Method acting. Just getting into character.
Yeah, I'm just getting into character. I don't actually kill people in movies. We're faking it. All right, no. I want you to stab me. I am a method actor. Anyway, so you only get one take. So I'm working with this guy, and the news ends up showing up, and they're filming the show. Okay, now again, artist brain, business brain. They filmed the first half of the show, and this guy's part is in the whole second act of the show. And we all get off on the first act, and we go in the back, and he's upset because they're not going to see him performing right away. This is actor's brain. He's isolating himself from everyone. It's all about him. He's amazing, awesome, unique. And if he gets seen on the news, he's going to have his greatest opportunity happen, and he'll get success. So that was his mentality. So right off the bat, he was like, hey, this sucks because they're not going to see me perform. And I'm like, well, they don't need to see you perform. In fact, they're probably going to have talking over it while they're showing people acting in the background while the blah blah blah, or they're going to just show it as a B clip and stuff like that. But his brain was like, So I'm sitting there listening to this, and I stand up. I go, hey, buddy. I called him by his name, but I don't want to give away names. So I'm like, hey, buddy, this is all you got to do. You got to go stand near them, right? Wait for him to say something, then respond to what they say, but not about you, about them, or about the situation. More importantly, if you talk about the situation, let's go with conversation, blah, blah, blah. When they ask to talk to you, talk about the production, because then they'll want to interview you, because it's not about you, it's about everyone. It's about what's going on, which is this
why everyone's there.
Why everyone's there, And he's like, he basically tells me I don't know what I'm talking about, and then I'm an idiot. Okay? And I said, that's fine. Meanwhile, I already had a successful career in music. I was already done. Like, I was there because I wanted to act.
You retired, you're like, let me try this.
Yeah, I was so bored. I was like, let me try. So anyway, I gave him like a half hour to do it. I was like, I already told him, but let me just give him a half hour. After a half hour gets up, I waited until she was by herself. She was by herself, meaning she wasn't working, because part of TAC is never when you're busy. So when do you talk to someone? Never when they're busy, never when they're working, or never when they're actually involved in something. But she started talking to the group of actors, and I just came into this group of actors, and I waited for her to say something, and I responded to the with aspect of it. And then she started talking to me, and I just started talking about the value of this event. And I was like, oh yeah, it's great. Shakespeare every summer. And, the guy who runs it, he's been doing this for 65 years, and started going into the, and then the Vanderbilt and like how, all this stuff. And she goes, do you want to be interviewed?
And you're like,
I said, yeah, actually,
Sure.
I'll do it. So then I do the interview, and I don't talk about myself. I do the thing, you know. I say, oh, you know, every summer they do this, and it's great for the friends, family, and children. They could come. Not only can you come early and see the museum, the Vanderbilt Museum, but you can stay and watch the show, which is 2.5 hours, and it's a beautiful rendition of whatever Shakespeare play it is at the time.
Because the big thing, like you always teach, is the fact that you're creating an avenue for people to emotionally connect, and people can't emotionally connect if you're just talking about yourself. So with the with aspect is the fact that there's a common ground where everyone's coming together for this event, for the location, so everyone's able to connect to that.
Yeah, and the one thing that came out of it, though, I built a better relationship with the owner, because he was like, I loved everything you said. He's like, you said exactly what you mentioned the Vanderbilt, you mentioned that people could come to the museum, you mentioned they could come to the Shakespeare, and you mentioned that the carriage house is a thing that happens here. I said, yeah. But they also put my name at the bottom of the screen. Actor Thomas J. Bellezza, performing as, you know, the king in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, you don't need to tell anyone that, because that's what their job is.
Exactly. I didn't have to go, hey, I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, I'm an actor, I'm working on this thing, you know.
Yeah, because they get that afterward. You just talk about, you know, the thing that they're asking you about.
Exactly. Now, the actor who was like, I'm an idiot, he got really mad at me. He was like, I can't believe you did that. You took that away from someone else that deserves it. Because, again, it was literally my first performance as an actor, and he didn't think I was a real actor. So, and I wasn't, and that's okay.
You were acting, you were an actor at that point.
Yeah, I was definitely acting. But I wasn't there to be an actor. I was there to enjoy what I do, you know. And anyway, so I said, no, I go, but I told you exactly what to do. I just did what I told you to do, and you just thought I was an idiot, you know. And then when they showed it, they showed it exactly how I told them they would show it. They used it as B-roll. They were talking over it, so you didn't see a performance, you know. And it was like at this weird angle in the far back. But my point is, the artist brain in that person took over, and they didn't realize. Oh, this is the other thing. At those shows, when the show ended, I would get off stage with everybody, because that's important. But as soon as I hit the back, I would then come out in costume, and I would stay by the exit, and I would say goodbye and thank you to everybody. And then what would happen is some people would say, you were really good, and they'd go to shake my hand, and I go, oh, here's my entertainment card. And all I had on it was my face, and then I had my website, make it right up here, and then I had the slogan, do you have what it takes? And that's it. So if they want more of me, they just go to the website. They don't have to call me or email me. Very simple. But they're making the emotional choice to come over.
And the way you went about it is you added to the emotional experience of them being there in the first place. So like you coming out in character, it's like, oh, I'm not just talking to like, you know, some Joe Schmo. It's like I'm interacting with the guy who was on stage.
The fans.
Exactly.
Right? Now that person, though, just to put it into perspective, said I was being unprofessional because I didn't let the people leave, and I didn't get dressed in the back. And I says, I didn't ask anyone to stay. I just stood there, said, thank you, have a great night. And then they would say, oh, you did good. Or they would come over and shake my hand. I never made an action unless it was only a reaction to whatever they did. So it's just a simple, thanks, have a great night. I didn't try to shake anyone's hand. I just, thanks, have a great night. You know, hey, get home safely. And then they'd be like, oh, you were really good, blah, blah, blah.
I think touching on this, that's another thing that a lot of, you know, when I first started getting into music seriously, or what I thought was seriously at the time, you know, it's what you're doing is literally the counter of what most people think is what you have to do, which is most people think you have to go, hey, come to my show, or hey, listen to my music, or go up to people and say, hey, buy my merch. And like by doing so, like, you know, being young when I first started doing it, like I had no idea what it was because I was a kid.
You're still a kid.
Thank you.
You're the youngest 60-year-old I know.
You know what? I'll accept it.
It took me 40 years to get to 20.
I actually age like a hobbit.
That makes sense.
I eat like a hobbit and I age like a hobbit.
No, like you went to college for 8 years for a 4-year. It took me 40 years to reach 20.
I mean, that makes sense. But but going back, like I think that's something.
Are we going back?
Going back in my day.
Let's go back to that long time. Where were we in this conversation?
But I think a lot of artists, like musicians, actors, comedians, anyone who's in entertainment, think that they have to push and say, hey, look at this. I'm so good. I'm so great. I'm so unique. And everyone wants to stand out, because if you're an entertainer, you have at least a little bit of you that's just like, oh, look at me, because you're like, oh, I'm going to be performing for people. So in order to get people's attention, you have to say, look at me. But you don't realize that you just have to be you. You have to be genuine. You have to interact with people like you would normally interact with people. Like you and I, we're just sitting here, bullshitting basically.
Yeah, we're basically ignoring each other.
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah,
I want to say Chris.
We're waiting. We're sitting there going, when are they going to stop? Oh, I can talk.
Yeah, but like,
Carrot. Where were we?
Like
Going back.
The fact that you you took the time to go about talking to people and just like adding to their experience and not really pushing. Oh, I'm a wonderful, amazing actor. And then and then sharing that with the other actors that were on stage.
Yeah.
I think it's weird because it's definitely a very, very, very important lesson, and like I definitely would never have gotten anywhere as far as I did had you not taught me just that one little bit of information. Yeah. Like, I don't understand why most artists are so against that idea.
I think the biggest problem with the emotion of pushing is that they just want to be heard. When an artist creates something, they want validation, and a part of that validation comes from this sort of like, hey, you want to buy the CD? And then someone's like, not really. And then they're like, all right, I'll throw in a shirt. And they're like, I don't want to spend any money on you. I'm here for my friend's band. And they're like, I'll just give it to you. And they're like, all right. And then and it's like, your music is not your success. Your movies are not your success. Your comedy is not your success.
Because that's the art. It's not the business. The business itself, the brand that you build.
Well, it's less than the art. It's the reward. So if we're talking from a business standpoint, your creations, your art, is actually described as the reward for your fan base. Even though the reward is to create for you as the artist, the reward for your fan base is the art. But they don't want it until they want it. And the only way they're going to want it is if they can buy into you, if they can believe into you. And that's why sometimes when an artist comes out with their first album, let's just talk about musicians real quick. A band will come out and they'll be like, the music's awesome. And then they come out with their next album and they're like, these songs suck. And the reason is because they didn't really work hard on the branding aspect.
And it pushed the album.
Yeah, like the album sold and they just did really great with numbers. But now they're like, well, this isn't really what I bought. It's the same thing with Alien Ant Farm. I love using them as an example because Alien Ant Farm came out with one of the best covers I ever heard of a Michael Jackson song.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Not that it is the best, but it's up there, right?
It's really good.
Yeah. And I heard that and I was like,
for those who are unaware, it's Smooth Criminal.
It is. Oh, it is smooth. It's smooth. I learned a couple of things from that song. Excellent performance. Like the playability, the musicianship in that song, the way they hit their instruments, and the way they kind of made it their own. Like it's not exactly Smooth Criminal. It's their version of Smooth Criminal, which I was excited about because I don't like covers, but I like interpretations.
Fair enough.
Right. So, and that was when I was in a band, that was my big thing. I was like, I don't want to play the song. I want to play us playing the song.
That's why it's awesome when metal bands do covers of pop songs
because this is great.
Yeah.
But anyway, so speaking of pop songs, going back, so
back in my day,
I had prostates. All right, bags of prostates. So Smooth Criminal came out. Everyone loved it. Obviously, they're gonna love it. A, it was really well done. B, it's Michael Jackson. It was already a hit. And the video was great because all the nostalgia, branding, all the nostalgia was there. But it was our connection to Michael Jackson because they had the chimpanzee, they had the walking on the changing the colors, on the floor, and they had the glove. Everything was about a huge respect and homage to Michael Jackson.
But at the same time, it was very much them.
It was it was them doing it.
Yeah.
Then movies came out. And people were like, what is this? What am I listening to? Unfortunately, that band did get into a bus accident and they almost all died. So it took a while to get a second album. So we lucked out. But the hard part was that.
Burn.
Jeez. No, but my point is their success on that first song, which, by the way, I recommend if you're a musician, never start off with a cover. Never let that be your first single. Never let that be what you're known for. In fact, one of my closest friends, who's an amazing writer, an amazing musician, he's full-on artist brain. He did a cover of a song, and everybody always wanted to hear it. And the problem was they pushed that song. And then
not the brand.
Not the brand. And when they released their own songs, they did okay, but they weren't hitting the numbers that this other song did. And his music is really good. But again, your art is not the determining factor in the success of said art. And the way you could look at that is there are different variations of movies where, like, you know, the story itself could be amazing, but if you get the wrong actors, or you get a low budget, or a studio's not behind it, and you're not getting the awareness. That's the thing. When they cast Brad Pitt, they're working off of awareness. Because in marketing, or marketing 101, you have awareness, interest, and sales. That's the whole point of marketing. You're trying to build awareness to create interest that ultimately generates sales so people buy into your brand. And when Brad Pitt is in there, his presence, his brand presence, brings awareness to that project. Now, if we look at something like Endgame, which broke all the records, I think they did like, what was it, $2.8 billion or something.
A lot of billions of dollars.
They basically filled up a building worth of money. But anyway, the reason that movie did so well is because they built their brand over the course of 10 years. Yeah, a decade. And then all the performers in that movie were also major stars. And their awareness built even more awareness.
And I think something else that, you know, that should be brought up. I think once you're at like a Brad Pitt level, or you're at like
who? That was Brad Pitt.
So once you're at like that level of entertainment, like a lot of those actors and actresses are also even if they're not working on a project, they're always constantly in the public eye. So like they have, you know, their own personal like press and like PR people. So like they're doing interviews, they're doing appearances. When I was
more so when projects are coming out, because what happens is the project pays for that press, right? But Brad Pitt, what you're talking about, he's become a recluse in a sense. So when you reach a certain level, you don't have to always be in that limelight. But when he was coming up, what he would do is he worked on making sure his branding get isolated and being the pretty boy, and then using those projects to push his brand.
Well, something that made me think of that was when I was interning at Tough Gone Worldwide for Ziggy Marley.
Did you get high?
I did not.
Did they get high?
Potentially.
Allegedly? It's legal. It's legal.
Well, I never visualized.
Did it smell like they were high?
I didn't see.
Did you walk into a marijuana smelling building?
No, because that was the office.
Did the office smell like the marijuana?
But anyway, one of the things that I learned from them was that I was talking to Ziggy's manager, Matt. One of the things that he said that he does is, even though if Ziggy isn't working on an album, doesn't have an album coming up, he still makes sure that Ziggy's in the public eye. And one of the things that he did was he would arrange for like interviews and press, or like some sort of like appearance. This way, he's always there. He's always relevant. People are always following the adventure, making sure that he's always doing something that's not just about an album, not just about a song. It's about the overall brand and the message.
Yeah, and that's why they're all millionaires.
Well, that and Bob Marley was just a business genius.
Who the hell's Bob Marley? Did he shoot the deputy?
No, it was the sheriff.
No, he did. I did not shoot.
I shot the sheriff.
No, oh yeah, I did, but I did not shoot the deputy. JD, get the red, the green marker. You got one right.
I got a point.
Yeah, you know marijuana music. Are you a pot smoker?
Well, technically, isn't Doom also the pot music?
We're gonna strike that from the record.
I get 2 marks.
Doom metal is not pop music. Doom metal is cut your arms music, and then the smoke of all the hatred and sadness oozes out of you, right? And then you sniff that up, and then you become happy. And then it's Doom.
I'm going to get 2 marks now?
Doom metal. There's nothing wrong with Doom. Anyway,
look.
Who? Hey! DAD, Dead on Arrival. All right, so putting time into marketing albums, we kind of talked about that. Focusing on you and on your band, small things. Okay. Oh, look at it. Oh, Dad.
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 Hi, Dad.
They call me Dad. Dad. He's gonna write that a lot. Necro.
Somebody died.
Someone died. Anyway,
D-E-D dead.
D is that no? It says D-A-D.
No, D-E-D. He's dead. Necro.
Dad. Anyway, that's on YouTube.
What?
All right. Hey, how's it going? Oh, more people. It's Quiggy. What's up,
Hello.
Quiggy? Haven't seen you in a long time. Hope everything's all right. Miss you, buddy. He's from Florida.
Hello.
That guy.
Do you guys like wrestle alligators regularly? Because if you do, I'm jealous.
I don't believe they do. But he was a comedian, and I think he still is. But anyway. So we mentioned something earlier about like bands focusing on making a record.
Mm-hmm.
They put a lot of money and time into a record because in their brain they're thinking, "Oh, if I make this record." 1 second.
That's more than 1 second. I don't know if we can accept.
What's going on here?
I think you broke it.
Did you have breakfast?
I did have breakfast.
What you eat?
Life.
Here, wait. Keep talking.
I'm talking, and I'm gonna talk right now.
This is so I'm not making noise. I shut the sound off.
Ah.
There we go. Oh God. And you have a bad neck. You know?
When did you get a neck?
All right. Where are we? Oh yeah. When you have a bad neck, you can't be leaning over like that.
Okay.
I just like having the mic in my face. That looks good. Oh, look at
Get
that.
a face.
Yo. Yes.
I love you too.
We do want Bitcoin.
I would love Bitcoin. I would definitely take
send
like
it to
5 Bitcoin.
There's nothing scam or spam about that. Anyway.
Although I would appreciate some Dogecoin.
Yeah. If you have Doge, give me some Doge. I'll take some Doge. I like that he's cursing on the board. Anyway, so my point is, so bands will spend a lot of money. Even actors and producers will spend a lot of money on a project, and they'll spend their own money most of the time.
Which is a no-no.
Yeah, it's other
So
people's
thank you
money.
for that lesson.
Yeah.
Don't spend your own money on an artistic project.
Yeah, don't do it. Unless you have the wealth. If you can finance if you're a producer and you're creating the work and then you're the one distributing it, that's a different story. But I'm talking about bands, actors, producers, comedians, all starting out on their own. If you're spending ridiculous amounts of money to make products and you don't have the demand in the supply, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. But a band will spend $5,000, $10,000, or even let's say to hell with it. A band has the equipment at home and they do it for quote unquote free. A lot of bands say that to me now. They're like, "Oh, well, I could record home for free," and I go, "All right, great, do it." But it's still costing you time, and you're making album after album, but you're not focusing on your brand building. And what's happening is you're pushing your brand through the music. And if the music isn't the same songs in the next album,
people are gonna just walk away.
Yeah, this is I don't like it. Same thing with Dream Theater. Dream Theater has such a strong fan base that it usually goes like this. They get the new album and they're like, "This is terrible. This is horrible." And then like 3 weeks later, like, "Why is no one listening to this? This is the most amazing Dream Theater album ever." And that's because they are fans of Dream Theater, but the music itself is not what made them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the methodology of their brand.
Yeah, because it's what they stand for as a unit and as people individually.
Well, yeah, but it comes down to a lot of stuff. Their art design is a part of their brand. What they talk about when they get interviewed, they're very funny when they're interviewed. They do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So if you buy like a DVD of a live show, there's a ton. There's like an hour to 2 hours worth of.
Or even that thing they did when Mike Mangini finally got it. They had
that's behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, they had like them, basically interviewing every drummer, giving everyone's performances and like everyone's who was already in the band still, their opinions and whatnot.
Yeah, they were like, "You're pretty good," and they were like, "Awesome."
That guy was terrible.
Yeah. I wish they would have filmed the real conversations they had. Did you see that guy's stupid faces? Who plays like that? I thought he was very good.
Like he was literally the best drummer, but his face is so weird.
I remember one time we tried out this female vocalist, right? And
for the
duetting, because we male. And anyway, so she was vocally, she really blew us away. She did like an Evanescence song, and vocally she was really great. And we all said thank you. And we all got, and the bass player goes, "If we find a girl half as talented but twice as good looking, let's definitely switch up." And then the drummer was like, "I agree." And then I was like, I mean, yeah, sure. Anyway, the bass player and the drummer both slept with her. I did not. I like to put that on the table. I never had relations with this woman.
That's really funny. After they were so cruel to her, they're like, oh yeah.
That was the part that confused me. Like they were like, they thought, ill of her, and then they were like, but just, that's not professional to me,
I think that's just them not being good human beings, talking negatively about someone, and then
Yeah, but it's not like one of them married her. Oh yeah. Oh, love. Anyway, this is about business. Love. Business of love. Though, if you are going to be in relationships with band members, I recommend
understanding
adults.
Yeah, and understanding there's a fine line between this is business and this is personal lives.
Listen, I've slept. I've had relations with several female people
that you've been in a band with.
Yeah, and then after we broke up, or stopped, or whatever you call it,
not being
intimate in front of other people. I mean, at all.
Or on video camera.
It's $10,000 anyway. So we would still be in the band, but I remember distinctly having conversations where other members would like say date someone in the band, and then it would just go horribly wrong, and they'd be like, "You got to get them out of the band, or I'm done." And we'd be like, "You've been in the band longer, so obviously we have to go," and we'd have to fire people. And to me, that was like insanity. So
that's stupid, because it's like you're being forced to take sides when the business literally has nothing to do with it. If those two members like have the issue, they should, again, like you said, be adults, talk it out, and like this is business.
Yeah, because it's a band, it's a company, and it's like, look,
how many professional bands, like classic bands, hate each other and still get together to do stuff? Hell.
Actually, Aerosmith has a very a funny story about how they write their music, and they go, the only way we can write is because we hate one another. and someone was like, well, what do you mean? It's like, well, if we liked each other, we would never be like, that sucks, work on it. We'd be, because we don't want to hurt their feelings. We'd be all like, oh, that's good. I mean, we can use it.
That's terrible.
But we hate each other, so we're just like, yeah, no. It's just a funny. If I remember, that started in 2000 or something, but it was a very funny interview.
Because if you can get someone that hates you or doesn't like you to be like, no, good job.
Yeah.
You did good.
I mean, they definitely love each other, but he was joking. But it is true. Like, you have to have this freedom and respect to be like, just because I like you doesn't mean I can't tell you that sucks.
Yeah.
Which is why JD and I are such good friends, because that's all I do. It's like, oh, that's amazing. He goes, yeah, what you do sucks. I go, oh, I was playing your song though. He goes, what? Oh, that was good. That was good. That was pretty good. He doesn't like the vocals I do on his songs. But you have to, if you want to hear them,
you have to turn it up really loud,
super loud, to hear the instrumental music with vocals. I just recommend. And you can check his stuff out. MakeARightLeftHere.com. That's spelled ONTHE. Anyway, so bands, again, that's management of money, time, and people. Like really how to organize the band itself. Getting along with people, managing the time in a sense that, like, should we record this? Should we not record this? Again, if you're not paying anything, it's okay to make songs. But if you're making songs with the sole purpose of this is how we're going to build our company, it's a failed method. In fact, look, the idea is like, what would get the band more success is literally filming and documenting with even just photos the growth and discovery of that song from before, during, and after the creation of that song, all the way to recording.
So let's say the band is just starting and they're like, oh, what should we do? If they take pictures of them like having, like getting together and just like jamming out, that is more enticing to people than going, oh, here's a song, but we didn't know that the band existed.
Yeah, because people want to see you succeed. They just don't want to hear about it. And something I hear from my clients that are bands or even actors or comedians, they say, well, let me get some stuff together first, and then I'll start marketing it. And I'm like, okay, that's not how I'm literally the exact opposite of how I'm teaching.
And you spent an hour saying just the opposite.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I will admit that I did literally the same thing when I first met you, because I think when you're doing something for so long, like, it's hard to break the habit But you have to really want to be like, okay, I want to find success. Let me at least start to like implement, these lessons that you're teaching that go against what most people are used to hearing from, professionals.
Well, yeah, it's
Quote,
like
unquote.
it's like when you go from one girlfriend to another girlfriend and you do the same exact stuff, right? And then she's just thinking, "Wow, your ex likes some freaky things," and you're like,
I will remain silent.
What was your ex into? Oh, destroying my emotions and making my soul steam up after I cut it off, and then I sniff it in doom metal. Anyway, so but yeah, the idea is the adventure is the brand building and how you represent that adventure. So if we take, like, let's say you and I were starting a band, if we were taking photos and or filming like short things of us, like, oh, what should we name ourselves? The branding would come from how we are interacting, if it's funny, if it's serious, if, the tonality is all a part of it. Like, again, Dream Theater, when they were filming them talking about finding a new drummer, it was very businesslike and serious, and they were talking a little bit about music cues and stuff like that. But they weren't like dressed weird. They were casual dressed. It was a nice environment. Everyone was friendly, right?
Yeah, they were being themselves, but they were like, okay, this is how we would talk in this situation.
And they didn't have to think about it. They were just being, But Guar, on the other hand, when you watch their behind the scenes stuff, they're obviously going above and beyond the natural human psyche.
Well, it's because they're not from the planet Earth. So why would they be?
That is true. But my point is, people buy into that brand's message, and you have to give it to them. They have to see it, and so when bands say, well, I'm going to just record the album, then I'll start marketing it, it's really like, well, why don't you start showing you working on the album, writing the album, rewriting the album, working on a song, maybe show yourself.
One thing to point out is that, like, when they're doing that, they don't necessarily have to show the music right away, because
agreed. Yeah, you don't have to be like, well, here's a clip of our new music, but you can show you all in the room practicing a song, but not, and for the love of God, do not show video of you practicing. But you can show you practicing and maybe talking over it.
Especially if it's filmed with a cell phone camera.
Jesus. Just like blare. And then it stops and you're like, how'd you guys like that? Was that good? Did you enjoy the music? We call that song. And you're like,
for the record, I am now going to write a song called Flower.
And just make it static.
At the very end. One chord.
Oh, that'd be but like just a high gain on it. But the same thing with actors. Actors will be like, well, I'll make this movie and I'll become super famous. And then you ask them a few simple questions. A, where'd you get the money? Oh, well, it's my own money. I use credit cards. All right. Yeah. Well, when, Kevin Smith did it, it was a whole different world. He had to buy film. Now we have the ability to film on digital and stuff like that. But Kevin Smith did not believe he was going to find success.
He just did it because he wanted to do it.
Yeah, he was like, I want to see a film that I want, my generation would like to see. But on top of it, when he did get his opportunities, it was because he was networking and building a reputation at Cannes or Con, and like really getting along with other people that they were like, I want to check this guy out. But they were also building super hype for the film. And they were doing that by going around with stickers and just sticking on everything. And they were making it an adventure. Like there was something going on.
Yeah, it was an event.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a movie.
It wasn't just a movie. And they just did that because they submitted it and then they got accepted and they were like, oh, let's do something big with this, But when somebody films a movie, they're like, oh, I'm just going to submit to every single festival. And there's no real game plan. There's no PR plan. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to make a film. Can
you tell me then?
Let's go back. When? Right now?
What will then be now?
Now.
Oh. Carry on.
Everyone knows I drink my coffee. All right. So let me explain something to you. If you're going to film a movie or create a CD or anything, or even do a comedy show, like if you're going to create a DVD for a comedy show, you have to have a sales plan. You have to have a marketing plan and a game plan for this particular thing. What are you going to do leading up to the production? What are you going to do during the production? What are you going to do after the production? What is your distribution? Do you have an idea? If you don't have these ideas put into place and start getting their interest before the product is done, you're making it more difficult to do what it is you want to do. Because now you're just relying on, well, it's going to be such a good thing. People will just love it. And it's the same thing with school. Like you went to school for 8 years for a 4-year degree, right?
I did.
Now imagine you went to school for 8 years knowing you wanted to be an actor or knowing you wanted to be a musician and you were studying music. But in that 8 years, all you did was practice and try to become the best you are. And then you finish and you go, where do I start? Oh, wait, I'm amazing. Because I was friends with all the acting teachers. So I got cast in everything in the college. So now I just need to audition and I'm going to get a manager. I need a manager. I'll get a manager and my career will blow up.
And people don't realize that the reason why they got picked up and cast for everything is because they built relationships with everyone at the college.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do outside of college.
It's just the same way I did with my year of working at the theater, right? So additionally, what an actor or a musician or anyone, an artist should do during their 8 years in college or 4 years or 2 years is outside of that. Start building your reputation. Start spending time in the real world. Very
not
important.
just in college.
Just not in college yet. Go out into the real world. Start building relationships. Start getting involved in the scene, your field of interest, and build those relationships. And not in a way where you're like, hey, I'm an actor, but in a way where you're genuinely interested in what they're doing, and just get involved with what they're doing. Help them out. Offer your time. Volunteer your time. Because then when you're done with school, you'll have an opportunity. Same thing with teachers. I use teachers as an example when I do my speaking engagements because a teacher needs to have an in at a high school to really get an opportunity to get into that school.
Yeah, one of the things that helps them get that is the fact that you have to do your practicals. You have to go out while you're still in college and get your time, your practice, teaching.
Well, yeah,
that's one way.
But that's also you got to be asked to be, and you got to apply for that, and then they'll let you do a teacher student thing, whatever. Where you basically are like
a student teaching.
Yeah, you're teaching the class, but there's real teachers there. Anyway, but even in that situation, don't just go to the school and teach the class. Go to the school, make friends with all the teachers, make friends with
build relationships.
Yeah, with the principal, the vice principal, make relationships with the head of the student committee, things like that. And while you're there and you're making these relationships, if they like you, and when I say make relationships, I don't mean go there and be like, oh, I had a great day in class. Everyone seemed like they were attentive. No, be you. Let them see your brand. Let them see your value as a person. Let them like being around you. Be attentive to them and listen to them. And
basically, don't just focus on doing the job and be like, oh, I have to do a great job. Obviously, you have to do a great job because you're,
that's the minimum requirement.
Molding the minds of the next generation. But you have to also put in the effort to interact with, the people you will potentially be working with, day in and day out. If they like you, they're like, oh, I can definitely hang out with, Bob or Christine. It's you're a cool person. I enjoy you. They'll stick out for you. They'll be like, oh, why don't we hire this person when there's a job opening?
Yeah, but honestly, the only thing I'm going to say that I disagree with that is you don't have to be good at your job. And the reason I say that is because
I'm just saying you have to be at least try being good because you're molding the minds of the next generation.
I don't agree.
Really?
Because I've watched movies, listened to songs, and saw comedians perform at high levels that are terrible. But the reason they're there is because they have so many good friendships, relationships. They grew their brand.
So you wouldn't want a teacher?
I would.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that's how the system works. The system hires people they like.
My argument, that wasn't an argument. My point was that I was trying to say that if you're a teacher, you should try your best to be a good role model for the children.
Yes, you should be good.
I was separating that.
But I'm saying you don't have to be.
Yeah, I was just sepeperating that one specific detail. So,
it's
be good to kids and
it's like when you're on
the right things.
You don't have to be good. It just you just need
as long as
to collect that $10,000 after the faceless book. But look, obviously in every profession you want, if I'm hiring actors, I want good actors. If I'm hiring musicians, I want good musicians. Hit the puppies. But the truth of the matter is, it's not always the case. The best isn't always chosen. And
I agree.
I mean, you could see a savant playing guitar out in the middle of nowhere with a hat out. You know they're barely surviving financially.
But they're literally the best guitarists you've ever seen.
Yeah, you're like, how is he? What is that? She's a man, and they're just making money, barely making money in their hat, and they're just like, and it's like, hey, look, I get it. That's people do that. You got to do what you got to do to survive, right? But in reality, that person deserves to be heard by the world. And sometimes they'll see them on YouTube and the video will blow up, but that's the last time you see that person because they were found. Somebody filmed them. And then they didn't
build the relationships.
Well, no, like let's say I was in Europe and I saw like you playing and you were this homeless guitarist that you'll be in like 2 years. But like, no, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'd love to be homeless in Europe. There's at least like a buttload of castles over there.
There's a lot of French women in Europe.
Specifically in France.
Yeah. And, which is near Paris.
It is. Here it's right next door.
What is that? All right. So
they have French toast in
But no. So what was it? Oh, so let's say I was in Europe and I see somebody just being amazing at the guitar and I film them and then I put it on my YouTube. That's not helping them. That's just helping my views. Just because we're asking that people subscribe. But
that's a nice little, segue.
But my point is, they're amazing, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get their success because they're not doing their job. And that's the thing. You hear me say it all the time. And when I do my speaking engagements, I will absolutely say it. I say, what you do is not your job because we love doing what we do.
Because we wouldn't do it if we didn't.
Yeah, I love writing. I love music. I love noveling. Writing novels, writing scripts. I love drawing. I love doing all.
You
these
love
things.
Being an artist.
Yeah, there's no question about it. But that's not my job. Though I do get paid for those things. But it's because I do my job
that I bring the reward of getting paid to do what you love.
That's right. And my job, and I say it everywhere and all the time. Oh, we have 22 seconds remaining. Oh, goodbye, Instagram. So, people are talking on Twitch. So, your job is to network, market, and practice. Your job is to manage your time, money, and the people around you. Your job is to utilize your entrepreneurial brain to find solutions by thinking outside the box in a proactive effort. Your job is to increase your talents, not just in what you do, but also the world around you and your field of interest. Your job is to organize your money into security, growth, and dream, to protect yourself, invest in yourself, and reward yourself. Your job is to find the assets, the 8 assets of life, and develop wealth. And your job, finally, your job is to treat your life like a business. And all those things will relate, all those things will deliver you to the reward of getting paid to do the thing you do.
But treat your life like a business that you run, properly and not try to get, work the system.
And even though I'm really lazy and I don't like the word run, I'll allow it this time. I'm sweating just thinking of that word. No. One time, this person was telling me about their diarrhea, and I was like, "Listen,
that's kind of a shitty topic."
I was like, good. We're trying to curse." They're telling me about their diarrhea, and I was like, "No, I don't want to hear about your diarrhea." And they're like, "No, that's a good story." I go, "Look, I can tell you about the time I ate Mexican, and I don't think you want to hear about my runs."
And that sounds kind of cheesy.
Runs. What's going on here? All right, so that's good. That's good. That's
you can
good.
hit the little button to share.
We'll share it onto Instagram.
Yeah, share to IGTV.
Boom. Let's do it.
Boom.
Look at that. Oh, do we add to gallery? Look at that. There it is. Look at your face.
That one.
Add to series. Yeah, let's do that.
Ooh.
Create the first series. What should we call it? Huh?
I don't make this stuff up.
Oh yeah.
Podcast.
I don't make this stuff up.
We're still live over on the Facebook.
Oh, you can't go that big. Behind. Oh, let's just do this.
Podcast.
Podcast. We'll go to the podcast. Behind the scenes. Yeah, that's pretty nice. We've had people pop in, so that's nice. Boop.
And we're still live over there on the Twitch.
Look at that. Boom. Look at
Boom,
that.
bam, boom.
Look at that. Boom. Bam. Bam. Boom. Post. Did it work? Oh, title.
I don't make this stuff up.
No, it doesn't fit.
Oh, makes me sad.
Oh, maybe I can do it. I don't make this stuff. Oh, I think we got it. Oh.
And then what's today's date? 08/02/2020.
08/02/20. Post. It is posting.
Woohoo!
All right. We've gone for an hour. I think it's time to call it a day with this episode. But
I think so too.
I think we got
we got some good stuff.
Yeah,
We had some good conversations.
Yeah.
A lot of poo jokes.
Yeah, what? What do you mean? Going back. Let's
Back in my
day. So anyway, you go to bbrproductions.com. Look at
that. There we are.
Oh my God,
Right
it's so funny looking. Look at us. Okay, anyway. All right, that was a little too
So you can go to bbrproductions.com.
Yeah, bbrproductions.com will take you to what we're doing, what's going on. Right now, for anyone who's listening, this month, we're accepting submissions for the BBR Short Film Festival.
I'm really looking forward for some sci-fi ones, personally.
Yeah, I cannot wait to just give him those. No, I like.
He likes the artsy French ones.
Yeah, yes. Yes, I do. All right. No, and anyway, so the BBR Short Film Festival. What's nice about it is the winner ends up getting a development deal with us, where we help you either with one full movie
or TV show
or a television show. So get to bbrproductions.com and check out the submissions. It's on the development page and also on the first page. You can just scroll down a little bit. You'll see it.
And if you are interested and you have something you want to submit, feel free to email us.
Yeah.
Either Thomas or
well, it's on there. The email they should email is on there. And
I know.
It gives
but they can say, hey, Thomas and JD.
Yes.
And also Piriel. To be fair, we'll have Piriel taking most of the submissions first.
He's an excellent script writer. Anyway, but also remember to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and sign up on the newsletter, because there's a lot of great things that we'll be sending out on the BBR newsletter, from tips and helpful information for industry people, casting, stuff for bands, stuff for actors, comedians. And then, of course, sometimes there'll be a special newsletter. People will get information before the public, and sometimes only the newsletter people will get the information. For example, next year when we do the BBR Short Film Festival, if you're on the newsletter for BBR, you'll get a month advance to the submission. So you get some extra nice things like that.
Get ahead of the curve.
Yeah, you definitely get ahead of the curve. Anyway, so you're listening to I Don't Make This Stuff Up with JD McGibney and Thomas J. Bellezza.
And Piriel, who's been hanging out here most of the time.
Yeah, he hasn't really eaten any bones. And normally he's like,
oh, he knows we're talking. He's like, oh, they got all the stuff set up. They must be doing something important.
The hell with him. Anyway, so that's it. We're gonna cut the show, the audio. And then we'll keep filming the behind the scenes. That's the other thing. If you go to BBR, you'll see the stuff for our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and also our new Twitch account and Twitter. But mostly so you can see behind the scenes, because we do some footage before we go live. Before we start filming the podcast.
We'll obviously afterwards, because we'll leave it going while we're.
Yeah. And then we update. This will be on Spotify and all the other avenues, so you can check it out.
What about the streets?
It'll be on the street. We're gonna be out there, be like, "Hey, man, buy my CD," and they'll be like, "Why?" I'm like, $15, and they'll be like, "Who are you?" And you're like, "Oh, funny story."
On that note, you all out there in Radio Land have a wonderful day.
Yeah, don't work too hard, but be productive. That's right. Okay, bye. Cue the music. All right, that was exciting.
That was fun.
Woo! All right, let me check I got some notifications, and then while we're breaking down, you guys could enjoy the insanity. Look at this.
Ooh. Well, I'm going to take off the Facebook Live. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. You rock. And roll. Bye. Ugh. My ears are sweating. I didn't realize that ears could sweat. It's so gross.
Look at this. Oh, what's this? I think we got a reply.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. What's our Twitch thing say?
I don't know. Somebody messaged us on there. This is exciting.
So oh, Liz said that we're awesome. Thank you, Liz. You are twice as awesome.
Liz?
Yeah, Liz is watching on Twitch.
Liz who? Liz? Like
Liz?
Liz? Oh, Liz. Hey, Liz. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Hey. By the way, I can date you. All right.
Ooh.
But I would never go out with you. But I would date you. I don't know what that means. Oh, I do. I'd be like, you're from 1998. That's dating. See, I dated her.
I gotta go.
I'm dating you. I don't know. You're younger than JD, right?
Ooh.
What's this?
Gabby just tagged us about the thing.
Oh, that was really nice of her. Gabby's amazing.
Gabby is awesome. She's such a team player.
Woo! Gabster!
Woo-hoo.
We love the Gabster.
Yeah.
All right, so now we just got to shut down. We got to shut down. Let's see. What?
Nicholas commented on our thing, but I will not repeat it since we're live still.
Nicholas who?
Your buddy, Nicholas.
My buddy?
Yeah.
Banana?
No, different Nicholas.
Nicholas who?
Niklaus. What's his last name?
I don't know.
Let's take a look. It is.
Was it inappropriate?
Yes.
What's his last name?
Nicholas Tomlinson.
Oh! That's one of my buddies.
I'll let you take a look at that one.
It's because I said I would date her.
Oh.
And she was like, oh, yeah, let's put that up there.
Wah, wah, wah. Da, da, da.
Normally when I tell women I'll date them, they run the other way, which is weird, you know?
Why are they running?
Yeah, it's probably my sword.
Well, that is a good reason to run.
It's never a good reason to run.
Well,
if they want to learn?
No.
All right, rule number one, whenever...
Dave.
Yes,
That is rule one.
save it as episode 1.
Already saved.
Season 1, episode 1.
I'll just have it as the date.
Oh, all right. Well, for future, we'll do S1, E1, and then you could write BBR podcast. And then
Okay.
Just so we know. We like to put everything back how it was before.
Yes, we do. Where's the...
No, that stays on there.
Oh.
Now,
How fancy.
for that.
Turn the phantom power off. All
All
right.
right.
Boop.
Boop, 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 boop. Whoa!
Ah.
Dog just woke up.
It's like, guys, what the hell was that?
Why do you hate me?
Sorry, no.
I said, you owe me food. Why do we owe you food?
All right, cool. We're gonna close that out.
Okay, let's. All
I
right.
don't know.
Did you know this? Watch this. You pull this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I put it in.
All right, just making sure.
Let's do the squeezy thing.
Who is this guy? We definitely have to get rid of this one.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy was.
That was a little. We don't like.
Inappropriate.
Yeah, the inappropriateness is not good.
Not welcome.
We don't like it.
Not
Ugh.
welcome.
Oh, you can really dance. Oh, you didn't have the other rubber band?
What?
The other rubber band. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. Actually, I'm gonna leave that on there.
All right.
This I will.
Ba-da-ba. Yeah. Boo-doo-boo.
Yo, do you want Bitcoin?
That was a little bit random, but whatever.
What?
The Bitcoin thing.
Oh, listen. Some people are just on drugs.
I mean, that is fine. Where did you grab this guy from?
Oh, you can leave that on there.
Well, this is what we have the other thing on there.
The other one's down there. Oh, okay. That's fine.
Oh, I know that is the one. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I remember there was two. I thought I switched it out.
What happened?
I got confuzzled.
What happened?
I got confused.
Who are you?
Do, 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 do. Who are
Doesn't Liz have to go to bed? Doesn't
you?
she tired?
No. Oh, she might be tired.
All right,
Liz, are you tired?
She's tired of our craziness.
How can anyone get tired of our crazy? crazy.
All right, there we go. I wonder if the sound was. Oh, the sound is working. Okay, let's end stream. All right. Good night, everybody. Next time we film will probably be Sunday with this, and we love questions, so please ask questions. We love answering. Soon. Talk to you later. Bye. And